Welcome to the Media Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And we had another great week of class, and you went to the art gallery. Was it this week or last week, Kenton? I don't remember.
I didn't go. Our classes went for their journalism class. They could go whenever they wanted to go.
Oh, I see, okay.
But I had gone a couple weeks earlier.
Right. And they have a media-focused exhibit there right now, right? So what is this all about?
Well, it's more looking back. The media, it's the last thing that we would do if we did the exhibit.
Okay.
And it's worth going to, I'll say.
Okay.
But it's looking at the Winnipeg Free Press's 150 years.
Just the Free Press?
No, there are other things in the exhibit, but it's sponsored by the Winnipeg Free Press.
Oh, okay.
And they have the newspaper boxes on display, which you can still see looking like piles of junk sitting on
You still see them on the street corners occasionally.
Yeah. They're not.
They're all empty.
Yeah, I can't tell that anybody's looking after them. They're just going to sit there forever. But they have them there. They've got, and actually, I think I mentioned this on a previous thing that we recorded, but they have a wall of headlines that makes, like, we hate tech, basically, is the subtext to all of the headlines.
So it's like online is a bad thing, is basically.
Kind of, yeah, there's that vibe for sure.
Oh, boy.
And they, it's sort of about the glory days of the newspaper, I think is really the key takeaway there. They have something that I really enjoyed, which I forgot all about, which is they have TVs set up. And in the old days of Winnipeg media, CBC would run weird little clips in between where they didn't sell commercials.
Okay.
Without explanation. Guy walks through parking lot or whatever, and that's it.
Okay.
And because it was Canadian content, and they had to do a certain amount, so they have these things running on a loop on these different TVs, and I kind of got a kick out of seeing those because I forgot all about them, and they are weird as can be. It's like David Lynch was putting in fillers during CBC.
That would be cool.
Content. That's what it looked like.
I would be all for that.
And I noticed there was one of them, a camera pulls back in a room, and the room's kind of messy, and there's a Darth Vader, a 12-inch Darth Vader figure from the classic line standing there. That's it. Camera zooms out. Like there's
Darth Vader figure.
It's almost like TikToks that they were putting in there.
Well,
Like, what is this?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I love that kind of stuff on TikTok. I will watch old clips, old commercials. I have a friend who will, he's got more than 400 VHS tapes of all, blank tapes that have stuff taped on them. So, and he just gets them from estate sales and stuff like that.
Ooh.
So you just get them, and it's like hours of TV programming from the 80s and commercials and everything. It's so cool. I love it. I love seeing all that old stuff. And it really feels like nostalgic to me when I see, especially stuff like that that you would see all the time, like over and over again. You think of things like the Log Driver's Waltz song. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
those little Canadian vignettes are really good. But anyway, so we had this the headline wall, so to speak, and you brought home, or brought to work rather, a little activity. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes. And once again, we're talking newspapers,
right?
Here,
newspapers, yes,
because it would have been too much to put iPads on a table or something, so they didn't do that. But instead what they did...
That's online. Online is bad.
They have these coloring stations set up. Or it's like desks, and there's people sitting there creating their own newspapers out of Winnipeg Art Gallery Press, they call it, and it's like a play on the Winnipeg Free Press.
Which is just called Free Press right now.
Right.
I don't like that. I'm just going to say that. I think they should keep the Winnipeg in it. Anyway.
I remember when I was a kid and I heard that you had to pay for the Free Press. And I was like, how's it the Free Press then if you have to pay for it? So as a kid, I was like, that's the worst title. It never occurred to me it was Freedom of the Press.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I thought it was like, Free Press? Okay, I'll take one. Thank you very much. What do you mean I got to pay for this?
Yes.
This is garbage. False advertising.
Yes, and now, of course, you do have to pay for it behind a paywall. Anyway, go on.
Right.
So was the paywall, did they represent the paywall in the exhibit?
They should have. That's a great.
Did you have to pay 27 cents to look at each thing?
They should have had a room that you had to put in a quarter and 2 pennies to see that day's headline. That would have been hilarious. We should really have done the exhibit.
Man. Anyway,
we could do one here.
We could do our own. Yes, let's do our own.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah. We could just take 2 newspaper boxes off the street.
Yep.
Oh my God, this is good. This is going to be great.
All right.
And then we'll have a journalist sitting in a glass box. And in emergency, if news happens, break this glass.
That's right. That's awesome. Okay, go on.
Okay, so they had this activity, and I took like maybe 20 blank newspapers because I imagine the punking possibilities that might be possible to create your own paper. So I made one for you.
Thank you.
And I gave you a blank one and said, this is for your rebuttal. And so the one I gave you, I believe the headline, I don't have it in front of me, but the headline was Dan is mean to small animals.
And it showed a drawing of me, and there's a place where you can make an illustration. I guess this one will be the cover photo of me kicking a dog.
You're booting a dog in the air. And
Yes.
the dog just doesn't look any worse for wear. He's just flying in the air.
And then beneath the fold, there's a space where you need a headline about yourself.
Yeah.
And what was that one?
It was Larson wins Nobel Peace Prize, and it was me. And I did a rough draw. I didn't even know what it looked like, to tell you the truth. So I went online and I saw it's like 2 wings or something, and so I drew a lame approximation, and it's me holding the Peace Prize. And then you returned the favor, and I have a photo of it. And by the way, our drawings are shockingly alike. We have the like when I first saw this on my desk, I thought you gave me the one back that I gave you, and I thought that was your rebuttal. And then I was like, oh, maybe he didn't like that. But no, you did. This was just one that looked like mine.
We're just remarkably similar bad artists.
And right. And then your headline is 23 ways that Kenton Larson is a jerk, and number 18 will shock you. So yours is better for clickbait. I love that.
That's kind of what I thought of when I saw that and I realized what the exercise was in the context of the exhibit.
Right.
I'm like, there's got to be people doing clickbait because that's a big part of journalism now. It absolutely is. As much as we hate it, it is practiced all over the place. So yeah, that's what I went with. And then what was my other one?
It was Vadabonker wins lottery on his own and does not share with coworkers, and you've got money flying around, and the rest of the coworkers are looking on sad.
Yeah.
And this give them the backstory.
Well, that's a joke because we have you guys have like a combined lottery ticket that you all put in for every week, and you make jokes about how I can't wait to win the lottery so we don't have to do this anymore. And I've never put in for. I don't buy lottery tickets. I think they're kind of a waste of money. So
they are a waste of money. But I'll be damned if my coworkers are going to win $1 million and leave me behind.
And the joke is that if you guys all win, I will be left behind because I did not put in for the tickets. So I reversed that and made it a headline.
I said that if I win, I'll give you some money. I didn't guarantee an amount, but I said I would feel too guilty.
Enough so I can quit this job?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much we've won in this imaginary scenario.
You might have to share it with other people, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like this imaginary scenario, even like if you were to win, let's say $1 million, you go like, whoa, share it among 10 people minus taxes. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
It's like maybe I could fix my house at that point. Maybe.
What were we watching the other day? And the amount of money was like $250,000. Oh yeah, it was True Romance, which is a phenomenal film. I think it's one of my favorite movies.
Really?
I love that movie. Yeah, it's really good.
I've never really been much of a fan of it, to tell you the truth.
Anyway, in that film, the amount of money they have in the suitcase is $250,000. They're selling the drugs for $250,000 is what it is. And you're like, we're going to get that money and go live our lives on vacation. I'm like, $250,000 is not going to get you a lot. Even in the early 90s,
no.
That would not have done that. So I thought that was funny. Anyway.
Yeah,
all right.
that would not have accomplished, and that would still not accomplish much. And I remember as a kid thinking $1 million would solve my life's problems, that I would make that last my whole life.
Yeah.
And you couldn't really.
No, you really couldn't.
You start to realize that that's not, like, having it all at once is exciting. But then after that, you're in trouble. If you don't like go to school and learn a few things.
Yeah, you have to do something with the money,
get a
right?
skill set. Holy, like you'd be some of these reality TV show folks who put all their stock in being famous,
right?
And then, okay, the reality show's over. You're not the grand. And let's say you are. Let's say you win the $1 million on Survivor. Okay, so you lose however much to taxes, close to 50%. Like that's not.
No,
you're poor and famous. So now where are you going to work?
Well, now that's why they keep trying to go to other reality shows.
Right.
You see those people who do that. Anyway.
Yeah, or the one guy who was on Survivor he's the writer of The White Lotus.
Oh.
That guy, but he was a writer before he was on Survivor.
Okay.
That's the better approach. Get your skill set, be successful in your industry, then go on Survivor, and then I think you'll be more it's more likely you'll be hired unless something really goes wrong on Survivor, in which case, like if you're the person who doesn't get along with anybody, then it might be harder to.
True. Now, do you still watch Survivor?
God, no.
No?
No,
You haven't watched it? When did I don't even know. Here's the thing. This is what we're talking about.
On season 36, I gave it.
So like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about cable TV. Do you still have a cable subscription, though,
I do.
correct? Okay, I do not. I have not had one for, I want to say, more than a year now, certainly since I moved into my new house. And I haven't looked back. I have not regretted any part of it. But yeah, I kind of want to talk about, like, what is cable TV like now?
I can tell you all about it, Dan.
Well, tell me, Kenton. Tell me. No, like, I find that, and I see it on, like, I work at CTV, so it's on the TVs, and I watch it, and I see, like, it's always on in the lunchroom, like cable news and that kind of stuff. And it just, to me, seems like this never-ending, like, just stream of content. It's I know, like, that's television, right?
Stream of consciousness.
Consciousness,
really, yeah. Like, it's not even necessarily coherent.
But I'm not even, like, because I don't have cable, so much of this stuff is not on my radar. Survivor, any NCIS, or any of those shows that are super popular that I don't know anything about. Like, any of those network shows, those huge shows, the Big Bang Theory isn't on anymore, but if it was, it would be that kind of thing. Like, I'm just not, I have no idea what's going on with that stuff. I know the streaming services, right? Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime, Tubi. What else?
Tubi?
I like Tubi. But like those
that came out of the blue, Tubi.
That's my cable service now, right? This is where we shifted. And I think it's just an interesting time. I think cable's days are numbered. I think this is just a matter of time. I think it's the next Blockbuster Video, basically.
Yeah, it's hard to, and even more specifically, hey, you work in local TV.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess I can't ask you for insider information, but it's got to be hard to, on a local level, to get the advertisers that one used to be able to get before there was social media. Like, now anyone can buy a Facebook ad.
Right. No, and certainly, yeah. I think they I don't really know a lot about the advertising parts of that kind of work in news. So, and they very deliberately keep us separate. But I would say that it seems to be a lot more sponsorship. So the weather is brought to you by, this is brought to you by, than commercial breaks, that kind of stuff. That's more national stuff, I think, is what's going on as far as the commercials go. Like, we're seeing, of course, you'll buy a national ad because you'll get more people, but locally we're not seeing a lot of locally produced ads anymore.
Right. That's too bad. I kind of miss them.
Yeah, and what I think about, I mean, this is not necessarily cable TV. What occurs to me as I watch, all my colleagues put together the news, a TV news every night at 6 o'clock, CTV News. There's a lot of people involved. A lot of people behind the scenes that you never see. This is the problem, is that the media is changing. People are going elsewhere for their content. They have so much more choice now when it comes to content. That the cable, like the package that cable TV used to be, isn't relevant anymore. Right?
We were told at one point that we were going to be able to buy skinny bundles.
Oh, God, yeah. That
just ended up being more expensive.
Yes, it didn't really do what the CRTC wanted it to do. Because the thing is that the skinny bundle was still like $30 or whatever it was. It was supposed to be...
Yeah, you put 4 of them together, which is the slate of channels you probably need, and forget it.
And
it's expensive.
It is.
Yeah, my cable subscription is tied into my email server,
your internet service.
Yes, it's all tied together, which makes it harder to unbundle. And now Roger, and I do it through Shaw. Rogers is about to buy Shaw. Like, the whole thing is just a giant cluster.
Yeah.
And I think, and I even got a deal on my cable package, but I had to keep it for 3 years. That was at the beginning of the pandemic. Am I there yet? I don't even know if I must be, right?
Well, you'll know when your bill jumps up a lot, because that's whenever
the deal.
Yeah, whenever the deal expires, your bill like doubles, because you get a super good rate for the first 3 years, and then they charge you.
I wouldn't even call it super good.
Better than what it is.
There was a minor discount applied at the time.
Is that right? Okay. Well, anyway.
And then I got their fiber internet because we were teaching online. That's when that all went down.
That's true. Actually, I did that as well. I did bump up my internet.
We sort of had to do that because, and thanks for that extra money work for rewiring my entire house.
We did not get compensated for that.
Yeah, no.
But it's you're right about it being integrated with the internet. It's almost as though it should be the same service, because we do get I do get all the streaming services with my internet. Like, I pay for those services individually, but I still get that included. And I also have a new TV. I finally bought a new TV, a smart TV. So there's that aspect of it as well. So now every TV basically has its own app landscape, right? And all of these things, Netflix, Disney Plus, are on that as well. So you don't need cable for that either. All you need is an internet connection.
The TV ratings measurement service can measure your streaming usage. if you watch them as apps on smart TVs,
Mm-hmm.
whereas they can't do it if you watch it off your smart TV.
Is
Did
that
you know
because of the privacy thing with the phones?
I'm not sure. I think it's because it's deals they make with. They have deals with cable companies, but
Oh.
not with Netflix, Disney Plus, and right,
Right.
because that's harder
Yeah.
to do. So I think that's the. I mean, I don't think. Okay, so you're included in ratings in some way. I don't think that's a deal breaker necessarily for that, but it's like, for people with privacy concerns, that might be
Sure.
something they think about. But yeah, like what you're talking about, I think has gone through everybody's mind, which is, and especially in a tough economy, what can I do without? Where can I get rid of some expenses? And I think it's pretty easy to get rid of cable TV. Like, I have it. Like, I'll still watch some sports. Like, I'll watch Jets games. It's still hard to see that stuff. I don't watch every Jets game, but I watch some. I watch some Formula One. I watch.
But is there not streaming? Are they being stubborn about it? Are they like not? Because you could stream that stuff. If they have the means to do it, but they're like being stubborn about holding on to that. No, you have to have cable to get this, because they used to be doing that. I thought they were getting away from that.
I think it's not a certainty. That's what bugs me about it.
Okay.
Where you're like, okay, is it still here? Is it moved? Is it? And we don't have all the time in the world to do research anymore. No. So there's that. There's the news channel. I like to, when some big news breaks, I like to turn on the TV. Like, CNN's got it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, CBC's got it for Canada, or CTV's got it for Canada. And I'll go look BBC for world events. Like, having those, I'm like, like getting rid of those. Yeah, probably in the short term, if there's no giant news stories, I'd be fine. But when those stories unfold, and they're unfolding stories where we're looking at pictures, that's where, having those I find very useful.
So news and sports.
Yeah, and then one last thing, I like the joy that comes with finding things that I didn't plan to watch.
Yeah.
I'm still a flipper.
Yeah.
Which I know the days of flipping are behind us for most of us. And remember, Gary Shandling on the Larry Sanders Show would always go, no flipping.
Yeah.
And it's harder to flip because we're streaming.
Right.
But
the flipping is now like the Netflix crawl, right? When you're sitting there for an hour going through Netflix.
Exactly. Yeah. But Hollywood Suite, I'm just going to give a shout out. In Canada, you can get the Hollywood Suite. They have some new programs, which I appreciate. Like, there's a foreign show called Gomorrah, where I just couldn't see the last 3 seasons. There was nowhere you could get them in Canada. You couldn't even pirate them, as far as I know. I looked for them everywhere, and they were it was off the radar in North America, really. And then suddenly Hollywood Suite bought the rights to it, and suddenly it was all there. Like, holy crap, it was so good having that. And it was easy. And the other day, everybody's been telling me for years, you got to see the movies The Raid.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
The action movies, The Raid and Raid 2. I'm flipping. There it is on Hollywood Suite. Recorded it, and like, yeah, The Raid is a kick-ass, like, yes, it is one of the world's best action movies ever made, for sure. I probably wouldn't have gotten around to that for years, kind of thing. So I like that. I like the happenstance. And every night before I go to sleep, I go look Hollywood Suite, and there's always one of the 4 channels has got a movie that I'm interested in or that I haven't seen in a long time.
See, that's interesting. That's I think that's associated with Crave, isn't it? Is it like the same company as Crave?
It may.
I think it's Bell. I think it is Bell.
I noticed it has its own Twitter accounts.
Okay. I don't know. I actually follow Hollywood Suite on TikTok, and they're really funny. The guy,
really?
He's hilarious. He posts all kinds of movie stuff and interesting facts and that kind of thing. Like, it's the kind of job I would want to have.
You know what? It's like TCM. It's like a slightly cooler Turner Classic Movies.
That's right.
Like, I got nothing against Ben Mankiewicz doing his like in between thing, but it's one guy. He's got the job.
Yeah.
But on Hollywood Suite, it's slightly more younger people talking about movies, and I will follow it on TikTok.
Yeah, check them out.
But I think that's how they're positioning themselves.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting that they're doing that because, yes, you're accessing it on cable, but this can also and may also already exist as a standalone. Yeah. Like I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty sure you can access Crave as a standalone. You don't need a subscription for that. You used to. You don't anymore. So this kind of stuff is all going to become, and it's all like add-ons on Prime. So you know how this is, and this is the landscape because we have Prime or Apple TV Plus. It's usually based around the device you're using, right? A Roku. You have like a central hub. You can see all your shows there. You can see everything there, and it kind of keeps track of it. So that's kind of, and that's the new cable. Like come home. You used to come home from work, sit down, turn on the news. Now I sit home, I turn on my Roku. Yeah. And talking about the flipping, I can still achieve that through the Roku channel. They do have live channels on there.
Right.
And I really do enjoy flipping.
So does Prime.
Prime does. And Pluto. Pluto is a app I really like.
And Apple TV itself allows you to download apps like CNN
that
have some degree of live coverage.
But I think eventually it's all going to go there. Like they're just hanging on to that last bit of like the cable subscription thing, but it's slowly being whittled away.
Yeah.
My employer is one of the biggest CTV rather is one of the biggest offenders in this case because they require you to sign in for everything. Yeah. And it's like you can watch some stuff, but it's like you have to click on each thing to see what you have access to and what you don't. And I like going there to see old TV shows. I can watch the A-Team on CTV, which is really cool. I can watch all kinds of cool. TJ Hooker is on.
Wow.
So, all like 80s shows. But I can also go to Pluto and see Happy Days and Cheers, and they've got like just a channel streaming Cheers all the time. That's it.
Pretty good.
And that's all. And you can go there anytime and just watch whatever episode of Cheers, and it's good. It's funny. Like you never go wrong with an episode of Cheers.
Comfort television.
Exactly. And that's my flipping. So I will do that. I'll just flip through, watch Cheers, watch Mystery Science Theater 3000. There is a CBC channel, but it's just basically like stories, like packs, basically just played. I would love to have like a live news. You're right. That's the one thing that's missing is a live news channel and a live sports channel. But I do think they're going to go there eventually.
You would expect somebody to grab that space.
Yeah,
you know?
I think there's an opportunity there for somebody to get there sooner. And
TSN's got their apps and stuff, but it's not. That's not what we're talking about.
No. But I am talking. It is about apps though, because we are talking about this TV landscape with the apps. Like for example, I would love for there to be an app for just CTV News Winnipeg. I work on the website, so I'm always on the website, and I see that they have this video section where they take all their TV content. The news, they break it up into little pieces, like every single story is a little video, and they put that all on the website. Well, that should also exist on an app on my Roku, so I can watch it on my TV. Because that's where news is. That's where I think TV news is meant to be watched, not on a phone, right? Who watches the news on their phone?
Well, I don't see anyone on the bus doing it, and that's where you can kind of see what.
You can see what people are watching on the bus. That's another interesting development in the last 10 years.
Changed everything.
Yeah, we used to always read on the bus. If you wanted to consume media on the bus, it was reading.
The
basically.
Giant newspaper.
Oh, the giant newspaper.
Reading giant newspapers. That was, and by the way, everybody was reading a giant newspaper. Right. People left it on the bus when they were done, and the next person came in and picked it up and read the giant newspaper. It was considered prime reading material, like free content, like pretty exciting.
And remember when we had Metro, that newspaper, a big part of their marketing was giving it out. They would just put a stack on the bus for people to read. But now, of course, it's on their phones. Everyone's on their phone. I've been watching Star Trek on the way into work, Star Trek Voyager, which is kind of fun. It's a good way to zone out during the bus ride because I don't really want to pay attention to all the other strangers around.
The bus has gotten scary in Winnipeg.
Well, okay, did you see I wrote a piece about it yesterday.
No, I didn't see your piece, but I take the bus and I know what you're writing about because things are. I used to be the biggest defender of the bus. Yeah. Until in recent times, it's like getting on there is a real adventure. Let's just say these days.
I spoke to a professor at Simon Fraser University, a transit police expert, and he said that what he would do would be to put the cadets on the bus.
Oh.
And have them patrol and have them kind of ride around. Yeah. And then I asked police, and they said, nope, that's not going to happen. So it was an interesting. You can read it. It's on ctv.winnipeg.ca. It's just about like here's a good idea, and the police are just shutting it down basically, and they're going to do something about it. But anyway, it's not unique to Winnipeg, by the way. That's a problem across North America, I would imagine.
After the post-pandemic bad economy, things are a little
homelessness, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. It's all tied into to lots of different issues.
Yeah,
but in some way, I don't watch stuff on the bus. I like to keep my wits about me and look around. I like to hear what's happening.
Just in case. Oh, I guess so, yeah.
Oh, by the way, a little kid got on the bus. You're not going to see this in any newspaper. A little kid got on the bus, runs to the back. His haggard mother is at the front trying to figure out how the bus passes her. I'm sitting in the second last row. He runs to the back, gets in the back row, and proceeds to start punching me in the head. And like, oh, there's a head. Punch, punch, punch. So I turned around. I was like, listen, you little like I was unimpressed. And then his mother gets to the back of the bus. She's like, Junior, you're always punching people in the heads. You bad Junior. And the kid looked.
Oh,
and
Junior.
The kid just looked like he could play young Wolverine in a movie. Like he's just like he'd had sugar for the last 3 meals or something. So anyway, so that's the least of the problems on the bus. But
no kidding.
You need to hear what's going on around you is one thing I've learned.
All right. Well, I don't do that. I watch TV. I watch Star Trek. But yeah, people do watch other content on the bus.
Yeah.
And then that's all the more reason why, cable is on the way out, because you can't access cable this way. Every feeler cable is put out into the internet outside of that cable box is on the internet. So it's not, part of that system. So
hey, you just reminded me of something. Okay, it used to be that if you had a successful, like Yahoo was successful for a time, then Yahoo had its own TV show, remember? It was like a game show.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It didn't last long.
I'm sure.
But it was like, okay, we're successful in line, we're moving to TV. Now, I think it's shifted. So it's like now TikTok doesn't want a TV show. There's not going to be the TikTok TV show, but now it's more like we need to take the TV media and move it onto an app. Like the
Quibi?
The shoe is on the other side. Tubi. The shoe is on the Tubi is on the other foot.
No, but Quibi was the one. Remember, the Quibi was the one with 10-minute segments where all that content has been repurposed on Roku or some other stuff. The Most Dangerous Game is on Roku. That stars Christoph Waltz and one of the Hemsworths, I think. I don't know, somebody like that. And it's like an adaptation of The Most Dangerous Game, which is one of the greatest stories ever told. But it's in 10 minutes at a time. And I'm like, I don't want to watch a 10-minute TV show. It's so weird. It's so weird. Okay.
There's some of that. Netflix has some of that there was a certain time period where that was the thinking. And where it was like 10-minute TV. That's what this is all about. And I think YouTube is what pushed it in that direction.
Yes.
Because I think that was the maximum a YouTube video used to be.
It was
10 minutes,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's what pushed that. So there's still once in a while I'll run across an older show on Netflix. There's one from Japan with an old guy trying food, which I quite enjoyed. I can't remember the name of it, but they're 10 minutes at a time and you could just leave it on and it was like a half-hour show. You'd be done half a season kind of thing. Like you should watch for half an hour, half a season gone.
Yeah.
But I think I don't like YouTube Shorts. Is an example.
Well, that's just TikTok. They're copying TikTok.
Right. We're trying to turn it into TikTok. So how long before something like CTV wants a piece of that? Like is CTV on TikTok?
Yes.
CTV Who runs it?
It's a national desk.
Oh.
So it's like national stuff. It's not bad. They just put kind of clips, interesting videos, like whatever's happening during the day. But that's it. And that's kind of what I think most people are doing with it. Most news outlets.
Is it fun? Do they tap into TikTok or is it more newsy?
It's more newsy. It's basically they're taking the clip and they're reframing it for the vertical landscape, but they're just like showing the anchor, showing the clip, or they'll just show the clip and maybe put a little caption on it. But they don't do a lot of the fun stuff that TikTok has as far as like the text on screen and that kind of stuff. Talking about the streaming services, so I am still, of course, Netflix, Prime, Disney Plus are the main 3, and then I kind of go back and forth between other ones. Like I like Tubi, as I said, that's free because they've got a great selection of old cheesy movies. They also have the entire run of MST3K. Which is a big get, I think, for a service like that, because that's a lot of content and it's got a huge fan base. And I think they're still making new episodes. Or they started making new episodes again, even again after they made the new episodes that they did a few years ago. So that's a lot of fun, and fans like that.
What we're talking about really is media consumption, though.
That's right.
And once again, every content creator is chasing whatever the thing is. Okay, and I think in some ways, I mean. And I always say to my class, I dare you to try to watch 1 hour of news live with commercials. It's hard. It's not a format that we have the attention span for anymore, or that we have a need for anymore, because some of that stuff we can just get off our phones, and we're used to multitasking and everything else. Even though we're bad at it, we're used to doing it. So I do think that your theory is right, that commercial TV is more or less gone, but not for live entertainment or live sporting events where people still, watch live.
Right.
That could stay on TV.
But live can still be on on the streaming services. Like that's
true.
the point. Is that's shifting. That's no longer the differentiating factor, because not everyone, but a lot of them have like, here's your selection of TV shows and here are the live channels, and and even Crave does that too, right? On its although its app sucks.
I know.
I have to say,
don't use the app.
Well, no, but it's bad on the TV too, or at least on the Roku it is. It's horrible.
Really?
Yeah, it's like you can't search very well, and it's clunky, and it makes you like click on the thing and you have to exit out to go. It's all this like really bad. Like that's another thing, is that some of these apps are not great as far as their
the functionality.
Yeah, they're really badly put together. But I tried. Oh, no, I haven't watched the Top Gun movie yet, but I did get a Paramount Plus free trial, and I haven't really looked at it yet.
See, I've got 2 Apple TV free trials, and I got to time it just right.
Oh,
one for my iPhone, one for the laptop. So I'm like, oh no, and they both expire in 3 months.
Okay.
So I got to do the first one. I got to time it just right, and then activate the second one. And I've got a list. I've done my research. I've got a list of like 10 shows that
Have you started already watching?
No, no. I think I was waiting. February 1st, I'm going to activate it. So I remember. It's like 3 months.
Right,
from
on the 1st, yeah.
If I do it some middle of the week, I'll never remember.
Right.
So I'm going to do it February 1st. I'm going to start with Severance. And then I put stars next to the ones that look the best to me. Mm-hmm. And then I'll see how much Apple TV can I watch for free in 6 months. But there might be a little overlap between the two.
See, so they're giving everyone this 3-month trial, which I just finished. Do they think that now that people are going to keep it, or is it that thing where they think they're just going to forget about it and then charge you?
Well, either one's okay by them.
So, because I just like, I don't have a desire to keep paying for it, because it's not consistent enough. Like there's not enough content there for me to keep back to. Netflix, there's a ton of content. Yeah. Prime, it's worth paying for that every month. Even Disney Plus is enough, but not.
Disney Plus is branching out into other areas, and it's getting very good. And even things like once in a while go to National Geographic.
Yeah.
And the documentaries, holy, there's some really good stuff there.
I should mention the reason that I even thought about this topic for a podcast was because of the ads that we've been seeing, the billboards for Shaw. And this is hilarious. This is, to me, like they're just grasping at straws here, because the ad is for like, order Shaw and get a free trial or free subscription to Disney Plus or something. A year of Disney Plus for free, quote unquote free, where it's just kind of built into the bill. You're paying for it anyway. But the cable bill costs more than the Disney Plus subscription on its own. So what are you giving? Like, what is your incentive? It's for the old people who still get cable and don't know what Disney Plus is and don't know how to use a Roku or any of those other things, right? That's what it is for the older generation. And that's the only thing keeping cable TV going right now is the older generation, the boomers.
That's right.
So as soon as they're gone, cable's gone.
Well, and lots of traditional media-related things for sure.
Yeah.
And it's sort of funny. I had this conversation with a class maybe a couple weeks ago, where it's the thing that I always have to remind myself of. I mean, of course, we all know that it works this way, but we sort of have in our minds this image of old people consuming media. But the other part of that is old people die and there's new old people.
Yeah.
So when we say it's kind of a misnomer, like it's like they're not locked in amber or anything. Like there's going to be old people used to streaming. Just like at one point there was old people who would not log into Facebook.
Yes.
Now there are old people who will log into Facebook.
That's the only one they'll log into, right?
Right. There's like so as generations go by, this sort of these truths that we have about different generations will fall apart as well.
Yeah, I think it's like all these things about the generations. It's just qualities of people at certain ages,
right?
So as you age, you also change. So but the thing is, we love the media we grew up with, and the reason why, there's a lot of boomers. They have a lot of power in numbers, and they grew up with radio, television, newspapers, all this traditional media that they're holding on to because they're used to reading it. But the new generation is not doing that. They're watching on their phones. They're all over the place. And eventually it's gonna it's just been happening very, very slowly, slower than I thought it would actually. But it is inevitable that cable will shut down and there will not be any offerings. And I don't know what's gonna happen. Like all these companies, Bell and Shaw, they all have other means. They all will. I mean, they will just fold it into their internet services and just make it one package, and you just still download it on the thing. Like there's not gonna. There might be a box because there's still a box for the Roku. Yeah. Maybe that's what they'll do. They'll just become another Roku. Right?
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we'll need 6. We'll need 6 HDMI connections from different boxes.
Well, we have, okay, so what are our choices now? For the boxes, other than the cable box, you can do Apple TV Plus,
Yeah.
Fire Stick, and Roku. Is there anything else? Other than actual TV, like the TV having it in there itself, which are not very good, by the way.
I know.
My TV one sucks.
Well, there's the game consoles.
Yes, that's right.
have
Xbox or PlayStation will have it. Yes, that's true. Not Switch, though. Switch does not have the capability for it, apparently.
Huh.
My Switch can't do that. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just about the games.
I'm surprised that Apple, and for the longest time, Apple wanted to literally build a TV. Do you remember that?
They did, yes.
And apparently they had trouble getting networks to buy into it, to what this thing was going to be. It was another, and I'm sure I know what it is. I'm sure it's all the content, all the streaming content that you've ever wanted built into the TV, and Apple takes 60% of the take.
Well, it would just be a bigger version of this.
Yes.
It's just a bigger version of your phone.
Right. And everybody else goes broke. And
Yeah.
that's why I think it was hard for them to get networks to sign on.
Probably.
And things like that. But you're right. It's a phone. A TV that's a phone,
Yeah.
basically. And I'm surprised that they haven't. And are they working on this behind the scenes? It's like we heard they were working on the driverless car. Apple was.
Yep.
And now what happened to that? It's hard to tell what they've abandoned.
Yeah.
And what just might be
Google
in
Glass, is
development.
that still a thing? Google Glass?
No, that thing's over.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah. Remember, people started getting beat up for wearing their
Yes.
Google Glass into bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Get out of here, you narc! You know, like.
Oh.
Step on glasses, get thrown out of bar, etc.
So yeah, I guess it remains to be seen how long this will take, but we'll keep checking in. I mean, I'm happy with my system. Are you going to hang on to your cable subscription for now?
Yeah, for now.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gainfully employed.
Yeah.
I can pay for it.
Yes.
If I'm a 55-year-old man, so when retirement beckons, I don't know. That's when that'll probably be the off ramp.
All right.
In terms of figuring out, and maybe by then there'll be a few more options.
I bet you that will be the case,
Yeah.
because I bet you by then we'll have streaming. All that stuff you talked about, like sports and news, will be available on these things.
Yeah.
I think they already are, just in not everywhere. And it's certainly an interesting landscape. You see so many, if you go on Pluto and the Roku channel and these little things, you see so many like really sketchy apps. And like they just let anybody make an app for this stuff, and it's like, some of it is interesting and you find some hidden gems in there, but a lot of it is crap.
Oh, yeah.
So, buyer beware, I guess.
Buyer beware.
Even though they don't cost anything.
Right, absolutely. Buyer beware. That's a good lesson for anything. How are we doing for time, by the way? You got to go to a class.
Yeah, I do. I keep checking my phone. I do want to finish up with some recommendations, because this is Media Nerds, so let's recommend some programs to each other.
I got one.
I got one too.
Go ahead.
Let's do it. Okay, let's start.
Let's do it at the same time. No, just kidding.
The Last of Us. Were you going to say The Last of Us?
No, I was not.
Okay.
But I love it.
Oh, it's very good. Yeah, The Last of Us on HBO. It started last week or the week after. We're 2 episodes in. Have you played the game?
No, I looked into it, and it's apparently only PlayStation.
It's only PlayStation, which is now like you want to buy. I want to buy PlayStation.
I know. I would like to play this game.
Well, there's a lot of games that are like only available on PlayStation, so now maybe it's time to buy one. But I've been told that it's a very good adaptation of the game, as far as like the actual, like that scene in the first episode where they're like in the car, or the truck rather, and they're driving through all the zombies. That's like right out of the game, like something, and it did feel like a video game in that moment for sure. But I do like it's a great show. It's very well made. I like the tone. I like the twist on the zombie thing, I guess, that they're mushroom fueled zombies, I guess, is what they are. So they like the mycelium network. If you wake up a zombie here, then like miles away, they know you're there and they'll come after you. So there's some new tricks that the zombies have in this, and they all have like mushroom heads and they scream at you. So that's kind of like
it's better than Walking Dead.
It is. Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Because they're not shuffling. They're not like, they're not boring. They're not as gross, right?
Remember all those conversations we had about what could they do in Walking Dead to make it better?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what we're watching, because it is better.
It's better, but it's a differently framed. Like it's here's the zombie apocalypse, and here's 20 years later. That's the cool thing I think about it, is that 20 years later, let's see what this world is like. The Walking Dead didn't do that. Or they haven't done it yet, but they've ran for 15 seasons. Maybe they have. Like, they just got there eventually. No, but it's really, really good. What were you going to recommend?
On Netflix, one of my favorite shows just came back for its 4th season. That's Fauda, Fauda. And it is an Israeli strike team.
Ooh.
It's like the Israeli, what was that show called? The Shield.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
The Shield?
Yep.
And this strike team, there's nothing better than watching them clear a building, like where they're all in their formation, and you're just like, look at them go! Like, this is great. And there's women on the strike team who, I don't want to give away too much, but let's just say, hey, they're all on board putting bullets through people's heads. And there's personal storylines, and there's storylines about terrorism and lots of other stuff. But wholly, like, as a window into what it looks like in that part of the world where I've never been, it works as a travelogue. It works as a technology thriller. It works as a terrorism thriller, and it works with the same sort of high octane police. Like police tactical stuff that we might have seen on The Shield, but it's very exciting, and I think I don't believe it's been renewed for a 5th season yet, but I expect that it will be, and I think season 4 is the best season.
Yeah,
I think it's worth watching from the beginning if people haven't seen it. It's got a really dedicated worldwide fan base, and I think I saw it was trending on the Nielsen streaming.
Interesting.
You can check Nielsen streaming, but that's only through smart TVs.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a little, but I believe it was on.
But again,
there
that will also be expanded to include everything.
Yeah.
And once they figure out the technology, they're going to have it on Roku and Apple TV Plus and all the other devices. So they'll be able to track everything probably better than they were able to do. Back in the day with the Nielsen boxes, right? Like,
well, did you know that Nielsen has lost its accreditation? From the I can't remember the name of the organization. Basically saying, hey, Nielsen, you got to do better in terms of measurement. Yeah. And so Nielsen wants its accreditation back, and they have a product called Nielsen One that is supposedly going to solve all the problems. But where is it? Yeah. And every time they say it's coming out, like, they fire the CEO or something, and then some new CEO comes in. He's like, we got something better now. That doesn't come out, and then somebody new comes in. So Nielsen, and because that's where the money comes from, is Nielsen's measurement of everything we're talking about.
Yeah, but if the measurement isn't good, then all your credibility goes out the window, and then nobody's going to pay you.
And networks lose money on content that they could be earning money for, and your favorite shows get canceled sometimes on the basis of questionable media measurement. Right. So it's for the best of everyone that Nielsen gets this down. We wait for that to happen, but that's the next thing. That's how you monetize streaming. Yeah, is Nielsen measures it, and then you sell advertising. And
we're going along, but one more thing before we wrap up, I would say that as far as the live streaming on the Roku or on your device, the commercial breaks are pretty good. Like, it's not like the old days of Crackle where it's just like one commercial over and over and over again. There's actually different ads, different breaks. They're targeted well. So I really think that whole environment is evolving well as well. But
once in a while on CBC Gem on YouTube, you will get the poorly placed ad where somebody's like, let me tell you, and then the ad plays a story of the ad. So that, I imagine that will continue to get better too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Media Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabunker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the door hit you on the ass.